Hey everybody. Hey everybody, it's Val. We're going live here, and as I promised, it's 1 o'clock Central Time, 2 o'clock Eastern. And we are going live on our Facebook group here so that we can talk about another lesson today in blog posting. Many of you, and you can I should be able to see my screen. I'm looking to see if I'm live on this thing here. Hold on. Oh, yes, we are. Woohoo! So we are going live so we can show you some best practices and some not so best practices with blog posts. We're going to start with a couple of things. So let's go to, let's go to our friends at, let's try Great. We're going to go to Great Oak Senior Care for a minute. So there is a method to the madness when we blog post for our clients. And the most important thing to know is that the content on your website needs to change regularly. You don't have to blog post every single day, but you need to add relevant, new, engaging content. I would say once a week is a best practice. Twice a month is at least good enough, and once a month, that's not very much. Some people would argue that if the article was long enough or interesting enough, that once a month is fine. I would say probably twice a month, something new needs to go on your website. So we're going to look at, and this is pretty much kind of how we do things for most of our clients. You can see all of these blog posts. This is every other week. Plus, if they submit content, so let's start from the beginning. In our case, we write all the content for our clients. They are encouraged, and if you're a client, please know how important this is. They're encouraged to submit what we call company news. So that might mean Caregiver of the Month or awards like this. A lot of you subscribe to this service. And when these awards come out, yes, everybody submits basically the same exact press release, but it's okay. We'd rather you have some company news because for us, there's a couple of things that happen. Not only do our clients get SEO value out of all these blog posts and get help ranking at the top of Google, these all support the content that's on the static pages. These are static pages. These are pages that don't change. So blog posting helps support that content and helps Google understand that there's something new that people need to pay attention to, and that Google needs to re-index the site and understand that there's more content there. If you don't ever touch your website, it's probably, unless you're a big franchise with hundreds of thousands of pages, like a Visiting Angels or a Comfort Keepers, or unless you're one of those that has immense power and backlinking and tons of little sites underneath a big corporate site. If you're an independent, whether it's assisted living, home care, care homes, you're not going to be able to beat the big guys unless you play the way the big guys do. You do not need to have hundreds of thousands of pages. But what you do need is to have a mix of content that makes the reader happy and also makes Google happy. So a couple of things I want to show you. The website needs to be set up correctly to begin with, but let's say it is. And you have really nice long content on your service pages. So you have long content. This isn't just a paragraph. This is what I see. This right here is what I see on most people's websites, a paragraph and a list. We want to get beyond that. We want to do more. If you look at any of the big boys' websites and look at how much content they have, it's way more than that. If you want to be like a big boy, you gotta act like a big boy. So even if you want to be a medium boy, you can act like a big boy in the Google's eyes. So these pages need to have a lot of content on them. All right, so these are all static pages of your website. They never change. However, under news or blogs, these pages should be added and should be new all the time. So we're going to go way back to the beginning of this, and we're going to look at what makes an excellent blog post and then how supporting posts can really help. Okay, so this is the ultimate guide to private duty home care in the Bloomington area. This blog post is one of the highest ranking pieces on this website. Now, it ranks just like some of these other pages do. And the reason it ranks is because it's a very big blog post. This is not your typical 500 or 600 word post. This is 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 word post. And you can see it has a lot of, it has links out to other websites to help people understand. This is really a guide. It really does help people who don't know the difference between private duty and home health care. It helps them know how to choose a private duty home care, how much does a private duty home care agency charge, what activities do private home care. So this is a really long post that we wrote, and there's a reason behind this. You don't have to write these every other week. There are lots of other blog posts that you can write that are supportive content. Let's see, aging mouth and nose facts. Okay, so here's a smaller blog post. So once you have a few of these long posts, so for instance, quarterly, you could write one of those big long ones that I just showed you. But every other week or so, you can write a more shorter, concise, easy to read blog post. So we have a mix of content here. We have our really long posts. There's a few of them here. This is another one that's really long. Discharging from the hospital, the family guide to transitioning from hospital to home care in Bloomington. Now we picked this one because it's one of the things that these folks specialize in. They love doing the discharge to home stuff. So we intersperse some quotes, images. This is one of their, this is a hospital near them. So this isn't some kind of generic thing that we just threw up there, and we actually looked at their local area, looked at the hospitals they service, and we connected with that hospital. We put links into different kinds of elective surgeries that they might be doing, and that's a link back to that authoritative website. So all of this makes sense. You can also see that it's sort of like going through a frequently asked questions, but the answers are much longer. So if you were to go on Google and look at the frequently asked questions about home care, you would see the question, and then you would see a bunch of different websites that give an answer. So we uniquely wrote this content to answer those questions that people have. How does home care help after seniors discharged from the hospital? And this is their welcome home program. So then we talked about them at the end. Hospital to home care services. So this is another one of those really long blog posts. So if you had a really long blog post, let's say quarterly, maybe start out with 2. We usually start our clients out now. When we do a website, we start them out with 2 really long blog posts. And they compete nicely with the folks who are the big boys in the game here. And then we supplement that with these smaller, easy to read, more engaging blog posts. See how it's divided up so that people can see the different. This is really easy on the eyes, it's really easy on mobile, it's really easy to read. So we have these shorter blog posts that make sense, and then once in a while we throw in a really long blog post. And we try to make sure that the keyword phrases we use are not exactly these, but they support these. So we might not use, we might write another guide on Alzheimer's home care services, but we might call it dementia home care instead. We might write something about 24-hour home care, but we might call it the difference between hourly and live-in care. Or fall prevention for seniors, the updated research on fall prevention in the home, or something like that. So we try to complement the static or talk about other things that are already on the website by writing short blog posts that are supportive and make Google say, hey, this is new, and these are easy for people to read. And then we write some longer guides that help Google understand that this is, we're playing the right game here. We're using all the right keywords. We're answering a lot of valid questions. And then our clients are encouraged to send in their own company news. Now, when a client sends in company news, we do not ask them to write an entire dissertation. But I will say that we do not write the content for them because we have no idea what they would want to say. So if you have Caregiver of the Month is a great example. If you want to highlight a caregiver, all we need typically is a picture and 4 or 5 sentences that go along with that picture, and then a headline, announcing Caregiver of the Month, Jane Smith, and a picture of her beautiful face, and then 4 or 5 sentences about why she's so special and why she's amazing. And when we do that, that's supplementary content. What we also do is we put this content that's on their blog, we put it in their monthly newsletter. So not every article is in there. What we do is we look at the last 2 or 3 pieces that are on the website. So if we post 2 times per month for them and they submit no additional company news, then their newsletter that goes out every month, and that is important, by the way, yes, email still works, that newsletter would have like these 2 posts in it. And we don't do the whole post, we just do excerpts. And of course their contact information, and they're pretty and all this stuff. So we send out a monthly newsletter for our clients that includes, and you can do the same thing. You can use anything you want. We have a proprietary CRM that we give all of our clients, and we handle the newsletter and the prettiness and the graphics and all that for them. But if you aren't using our services and you have some new blog posts, you can use Constant Contact, MailChimp, anything you want to send out monthly newsletters. And you can use the content that's already on your website, and then you can add to it. You can also add other things if you want. But I would say to you that anytime you have an event coming up, anytime you have an event in the past, anytime you have Caregiver of the Month, or you win an award, or you're honored for something, or someone on your staff celebrates a milestone anniversary, or you've got some birthdays you want to celebrate, whatever those things are, that you put them on your blog and you put them in your newsletter. Because every time the content changes on your website, Google notices. It does not mean that you're going to get to the top of Google if you all have a bunch of 4-sentence posts with pictures. That's not going to help you get to the first page of Google. But when you do it right and you supplement your long form content, we call this long form content. So this would be a long form content piece. When you supplement this with a bunch of smaller blog posts, and you do this regularly, so you have your long form content, you have your service pages that are set up nicely, and they are also long form, and these complement these, and you have all that stuff going on. When that happens, then you can put some smaller, shorter, celebratory posts on your website that perk Google's ears up and also are interesting to your audience, and help Google and your audience love reading stuff that comes from your website. So let's go to Facebook and see what that ends up looking like. So we're going to go to Great Oak's Facebook business page, and we are going to, let's see, Great Oak Senior Care. And so what we're going to look at is how some of this looks to other humans that are coming to Facebook and other social media. So if we go to, let's cancel that. We don't want to do that right now. Okay, so let's get rid of this and let's view as a visitor. Can we do that? Can we view as a visitor? Date. Well, I guess it's gonna be crazy. So you're gonna see a lot of admin stuff. All right. So you can see this is not a blog post. This is actually a daily post. We use quotes and we use information from their website for those daily posts. However, if you keep going here, you're going to see a few other things that are on their Facebook page, including their blog posts. So let's keep going. Oh, this is a video. We do 2 videos per month. Let's keep going. Happy Father's Day. Man, we post a lot. Waiting for this to load. And also, I totally encourage you, while we're waiting for this goofy thing to load, that when you have a video like this, when you do short videos, that's awesome for Facebook, but boost those posts to your local area so that they get more reach. Facebook's not giving anything away. They're not going to give you, unless you have done something crazy like a huge human interest story, you're not going to get a lot of play on your Facebook business page if you're not creating like crazy weirdo content. We all love to see crazy weird stuff, train wrecks, but in our business life, we're not going to post train wreck stuff, and we don't deal with puppies and kittens, so it's hard to get a lot of engagement for home care. So anytime you have a video, or in fact the way we do these posts, you could boost any one of those posts to your local area and get a huge amount of engagement. Okay, here is a blog post. So this blog post came from their website. So we use a system called Deliverr, and it automatically delivers all the blog posted content straight to their Facebook page. So every time we post, they get a blog post. We do 2 videos per month, and we post 5 days a week with something like this. Here's another video. So it just goes on, and you can see that not only do we post this content to their Facebook page, but we also post it to their Google My Business. And guess what else? This blog post that you just saw, sorry, I'm scrolling a lot, I know it's hard on the eyes. This blog post also went out to their Google My Business. So we use the content that we write on the website, whether it's long form or short form, in many different ways. Newsletter, we use it on Facebook, it goes out to LinkedIn, it goes out to the Google My Business page, and of course it's always present on the website. Any of this content can be used in similar ways. I would not make this a blog post. That's not going to be helpful, but something like this is. So if we click on that, it should take us right to the blog post. And there it is. And you can see these are easy to read. They have headlines. So we'll talk about, next I'm going to talk about sort of how you put these together and what they should look like. Anytime you're writing a blog post or an article for a website, and you can hire this out, like for instance, people pay us to do all of their content, which is fine, but you can hire freelance writers. I would just say, I've said this for years and years, please be careful. If you go to a place like freelancer.com or Odesk, or I don't even think that exists, what is it called, Upwork, or any place like that, and you want content, you need to pay for good content. If you hire someone, if you're not careful, here's what's going to happen. A lot of the freelancers on there will say they're from the United States, because in my opinion, it's really important that you have someone write your content where English is their first language, and that they were born and raised in the United States. And the reason is because this is healthcare, and it's complicated, and there are words that people who use British English and Canadian English are different than the way we do it. And if you're trying to connect with your, Bloomington, Minnesota audience, you're probably not going to want to use British English, which is what happens when you hire someone who lives in Africa or India. They're using British English, and it's full of typos and it's grammatically incorrect, and you spend more time fixing an article than you could have just written it yourself at that point, right? So be very careful who you hire. We have writers that have been with us for years. When we hire a new writer, we give them a test, we tell them we make them write a few articles for us to see how it looks and all that. So we go through a pretty rigorous process, and writers are freelancers, and they tend to be scattered. So it's really important that you are careful about who you hire. This is a tough job, writing articles all the time, and we probably have about 600 articles a month written for us. So it's really a hard process, so be careful. Anyway, so for your title, you might want to try to incorporate a keyword like home care. This is your subtitle, and then you're going to have some subtitles inside. You want to make these bold and big, and then at the end we always put something like this, and we make sure that their phone number is there and the area that they serve. So you want to divide it up so it's easy on the eyes. I will show you what it looks like when a blog post is not easy on the eyes. Now, when I post a video like the one we're doing right now, when I post that to my blog, what I do is I also put the transcript underneath. This is how you would not want to do a blog post. So I do this because I just want to make sure the entire transcript is there. I don't take the time to divide it up, which I should, but I don't have that kind of time. I don't take the time to put subtitles and, explanations and all that stuff. This is the exact transcript of what I said, so that's what you're getting. I really want you to watch the video because that's way more entertaining and it gets the point across. I have taken the time in some of these to put in the slide that I used and all that, but it's a killer to do that. So it's really about the video here, but Google likes written content. So I always put the transcript of my video underneath for a longer blog post. Now, in this case, I would tell you that if you do videos, short or long, you can go to a website called rev.com, and you can have your videos transcribed. So I'm going to log into my account so you can see it. And you can have any video you want transcribed, and here it is. So they actually listened to the video, and you can see they just kind of divided it up into however they do it. And this is my entire transcription. I can download it and then I can post it to my website. You have a lot of options when you do transcription. You can do a human transcription, which is what I recommend. You can do a rough draft, which is a machine-generated transcript. If you are not a clear and concise speaker, you do not want to use this. You will spend more time editing it than it's worth. You can do captions, foreign subtitles, live captions for Zoom, and speech-to-text APIs. Yeah, I don't do that. But if you want to be cheap and you won't have the time to edit it yourself, you can do a rough draft. I always use a human transcription. I'm not in a hurry. They can send it to me within 24 hours and I'm good with that. The shorter the video, the faster it generates. So we do spend a lot of money at Rev. Every video I do, just like this one, is put through a human transcription. And they do a great job. I haven't rated some of these, but you can see in the past I've rated a lot of them. So all you do is upload your video directly to Rev, or if it's already on YouTube or Vimeo, you can just send them the link, even on a link on Facebook. You can send them the link to the video on Facebook and they'll transcribe it. So that's what I use to get the full blog post. But you're not going to get these pretty headers and all this stuff. That's not their job. They're just transcribing your words. So it takes a little longer to do that. So typically mine look like this. Now, if it's an interview, then what they do is they divide it up. Valerie's talking, Mary's talking, Valerie's talking, Mary's talking. So you can see the conversation back and forth. It's not quite as yucky as, as this one. It looks much better. Let's see, we can see one right here. No, that is not. Here we go. Here's my interview with Ken. So you can see Ken, Valerie, Ken, Valerie, Ken, Valerie. So that's another reason why I love it. If you put their name in, they will transcribe it and they will divide it up between speakers. So that's awesome. All right, so best practices on blog posts. The summary is this. Number one, at least quarterly, you should have one or two big, let's go back here. One or two long form posts. That means 1,200 or more words. I'm trying to go backwards here. Let's see here. Let's go back. And let's go back one more, or maybe two more. Here we go. So a quarterly or a couple of times a quarter, you want to have some long form posts. These are 1,200, 1,500 words. You can hire them out. I do have a template for this. If you do hire it out, that tells the writer exactly what to do. That's what we do. If we want to have a long form post, and we pay a lot of money for these, they're at least $100 to $125, usually 10 cents a word. This one I wrote myself, but if we hire a writer, that's what it's going to cost for a long form blog post. Our shorter posts don't cost that much, but these long ones require some thoughtfulness and some actual human thinking and grammar and everything. So they cost more to write, and I don't blame the writer. This is not something you can write in 15 minutes. So we pay a lot for these if we have someone else write them besides me, which hopefully I'm not always the one writing them. And then for the shorter blog posts, they complement the ones and link to different pages on your website, and they complement the stuff that's already been written on your website, whether it's a static page or an older blog post. But everything complements the static pages on your site. So without the longer service pages or location pages, without that to begin with, you're fighting an uphill battle. You need to have long form pages on your website that describe your services, that are not just a paragraph. So when people come to us for a website audit, they often say, well, my website's really fast. Yeah, it's fast because it has 3 pages and there's only a paragraph on each page. So that's great. It might be fast, but you're never going to compete with anybody without these long form pages and a few long form posts every year added in there. And everything should support itself. It should internally link to itself inside. So that is how you write a great blog post. And you always want to make sure it's easy on the eyes. Use big titles, use lists, use checklists, use reason number 1, reason number 2, reason number 3, or step 1, step 2, step 3. Make those short, even the long ones, make them really easy to read. And not only will people be happy, but Google will be happy as well. So that is my lesson on how to write blog posts. If you need more information, or you need help with content on your website, or you need a free audit of your website, we are happy to do that all the time. So just go to asnmarketingplan.com. I'm going to go to it right now so you can see. It looks like this. It's right here, asnmarketingplan.com. You can fill out this form, or if you want to audit, or you can just go straight to the Contact Us page right here. And this is a much longer form, but it gives us some idea of what you're looking for. I know it's long, but it's pretty much just check boxes and stuff. If you fill that form out, then you'll have an appointment with Bob, who is our business development person. He's been doing this a really long time. He's a nice guy. You can talk to him, and he will point you in the right direction. So that is my lesson for today on blog posting. Be careful who you hire too. Make sure they are born and raised in whatever country you're watching this from, so that they use the proper language and grammar. Thanks so much, everybody. We hope you have a really great day. That's our lesson for this week. Thanks. Bye.